Hello and welcome. You're watching Saga Spot TV, your home for captivating tales and timeless documentaries. In the mists of ancient Britannia, where the wild winds whispered tales of old and the shadow of Rome loomed large, a legend was forged. This is the story of a queen, a mother, a warrior whose name would echo through millennia. Her fury ignited a nation, her courage defied an empire, and her spirit became an eternal flame for freedom. This is the untold saga of Boudica, the woman who dared to challenge the might of Rome itself. Long before her name became a rallying cry, Boudicca reigned over the Iceni tribe in the fertile lands of eastern Britain. The Iceni were a proud, prosperous people, their independence fiercely guarded, their culture rich with ancient traditions. They thrived on trade and their unique way of life. When the Roman Empire, an unstoppable tide of legions and ambition, swept into Britain in AD 43, the island was forever changed. Many tribes, facing overwhelming force, chose to submit, some through fear, others through calculated diplomacy. The very fabric of British society began to shift under Roman influence. Boudicca's husband, King Prasutagus, a shrewd and pragmatic leader, sought to preserve his people. He forged an alliance with Rome, believing this pact would safeguard the Iceni's sovereignty and way of life. It was a gamble, a desperate hope for peace in a turbulent world. Upon his death, Prasutagus, in a final act of defiance and hope, bequeathed his kingdom jointly to the Roman emperor and his own daughters. He believed this would secure his family's future and the Iceni's continued autonomy. But Rome, ever opportunistic, had a different, far more brutal plan. The ink on Prasutagus's will was barely dry when Roman officials descended upon Iceni lands with ruthless efficiency. They disregarded the treaty, trampling over sacred customs and legal agreements. The Iceni, once proud and independent, found their world violently overturned. Roman procurators seized property, enslaved nobles, and systematically dismantled the Iceni's cherished traditions. This was not merely an act of conquest, it was a deliberate campaign of humiliation and subjugation. The Romans sought to break the spirit of the British people. Then came the ultimate outrage, an act of barbarity that would ignite an inferno. Boudicca, the rightful queen, was publicly flogged, her royal dignity stripped away in a brutal display. Her daughters, innocent and vulnerable, suffered unspeakable assaults at the hands of Roman soldiers. These heinous acts were designed to crush the Iceni, to send a chilling message of absolute Roman dominance. Yet, instead of extinguishing their spirit, this profound injustice awakened something far more powerful. It stirred a deep, primal rage, a thirst for vengeance that Rome had never anticipated. From the depths of her pain and humiliation, Boudicca rose, a phoenix from the ashes of injustice. Wounded but unbroken, her voice, now imbued with the fire of righteous fury, carried across the Iceni encampments. She rallied her warriors, men and women who had also endured Roman oppression and witnessed their homeland desecrated. Her impassioned pleas resonated deeply, touching the raw nerves of a subjugated people. Word of her defiance spread like wildfire across the land, igniting hope where only despair had reigned. Other powerful tribes, including the Trinovantes and the Cativellauni, who had suffered similar indignities, answered her call. For the first time in generations, disparate British tribes, often rivals, united under a single potent banner: freedom and vengeance. Ancient accounts, penned by Roman historians themselves, describe the gathering armies as a terrifying storm of thousands. It was a vast, painted host, a sea of determined warriors ready to reclaim their ancestral lands and their dignity. Boudicca, A towering figure with flowing red hair and a fierce gaze stood at the head of this formidable force. She was no longer just a queen. She was the embodiment of Britannia's defiant spirit, a symbol of resistance against an empire that believed itself invincible. Her chariot, adorned with symbols of war, became the focal point of a burgeoning revolution. Boudicca's army struck with terrifying speed and precision, targeting the very symbols of Roman power. Their first objective was Camulodunum, modern-day Colchester, the former capital of the Trinovantes, and now a Roman colony. It was a hated symbol of occupation, a city built on the ruins of British pride. The Britons swept through Camulodunum, overwhelming the unprepared Roman garrison and its inhabitants. The city was utterly destroyed, its grand temples and administrative buildings reduced to smoldering ruins. The flames that consumed Camulodunum sent a clear, terrifying message across the province. Britannia was fighting back. Next, Boudicca turned her wrath upon Londinium, the burgeoning heart of Roman Britain, a bustling port and administrative center. Roman forces, led by Governor Suetonius Paulinus, were caught off guard, too far away to defend the city. The Roman inhabitants, knowing they were outnumbered and vulnerable, fled in terror. The fires that engulfed Londinium rose so high they blackened the very sky, a beacon of defiance visible for miles. The destruction was absolute, a visceral rejection of Roman rule. Even Roman historians, who typically downplayed defeats, described the devastation with a palpable sense of fear and horror. They spoke of the sheer brutality, the indiscriminate slaughter, and the utter chaos unleashed by Boudicca's vengeful army. But Rome, the eternal empire, was not one to accept defeat, especially not at the hands of a barbarian queen. Governor Suetonius Paulinus, a ruthless and seasoned commander, regrouped his remaining legions, a disciplined fighting force honed by years of conquest. He understood the gravity of the situation. The very existence of Roman Britain hung in the balance. Suetonius chose his battlefield with meticulous care, a narrow valley flanked by woods, a strategic choke point. This terrain would negate the Britons' overwhelming numerical advantage, forcing them into a confined space where Roman discipline could prevail. It was a calculated risk, but one he knew he had to take. Boudicca's forces, fueled by their earlier victories and a burning desire for freedom, charged with unbridled fury. They were a tidal wave of passion and courage, but they met an immovable object. The Roman legions, shields locked, spears forward, formed an impenetrable wall of death. Their training, their discipline, and their superior tactics began to grind down the British charge. Thousands of Britons fell in the brutal, bloody engagement. The rebellion, born of righteous anger and hope, collapsed under the relentless efficiency of the Roman war machine. The dream of a free Britannia, so close to being realized, was tragically shattered on that fateful day. Realizing the inevitable and refusing to be paraded through Rome in chains as a trophy of conquest, Boudicca made a final, defiant choice. She chose to take her own life, preserving her honor and her freedom in death. Her uprising ended, but her legacy, forged in fire and blood, was only just beginning. Rome, in its relentless pursuit of order, attempted to erase Boudicca from history, to brand her as a mere rebel, a barbarian, a dangerous woman. They sought to diminish her, to bury her story beneath the weight of their imperial narrative. But history, like the spirit of Britannia, proved far more resilient. To the people of Britain, Boudicca transcended the battlefield. She became an enduring symbol of resistance, a powerful reminder that even the greatest empire can be challenged, that the human spirit yearns for freedom above all else. Her story became a whisper passed down through generations, a beacon of defiance against oppression. Today, statues of Boudica stand proudly, a testament to her indomitable spirit near the River Thames in London. They are a powerful reminder of the fires that once consumed Londinium and the queen who dared to light them. Her image, often depicted in her war chariot, is a potent symbol of British resilience and courage. Her story endures not merely as a tale of war and conquest, but as a profound narrative of human dignity. It is the story of a woman who refused to bow, who chose honor over fear, and whose courage echoes across 2,000 years. Boudicca's spirit lives on, inspiring us to stand firm against injustice, to fight for what we believe in, and to never surrender our freedom. This was the epic legend of Boudica, the warrior queen. Join us on Saga Spot TV, where the echoes of history inspire us today. Subscribe now to uncover more untold stories of courage and defiance, and share this legend to keep Boudica's spirit alive.